Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Felicity Magdalene. She is so beautiful, like my other daughter, Elisa.
Welcome to Still a Part of Us, a place where moms and dads share the story of their child who was stillborn or who died in infancy. I'm Winter.
And I'm Lee. We are grateful you joined us today. Please note that this is a story of loss and has triggers.
Thanks to our lost parents who are willing to be vulnerable and share their children with us.
If you're listening to this podcast, just know that on our YouTube channel, there are pictures and videos that are related to the stories that are being shared.
Subscribe and share it with a friend that might need it and tell them to subscribe. Why? Because people need to know that even though our babies are no longer with us, they're still a part of us. Welcome to Still a Part of Us. I am so excited to talk to Sara today. She reached out to me to talk about her sweet daughter, Felicity, which I love that name. It is such a little, it just was so happy and joyful of a name. And I am so excited to hear about her today. So welcome, Sara. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Just to get started, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What does your family look like right now? And then maybe at the time of when Felicity was born.
Yeah, so me and my husband, we currently live in St. Louis. My husband is a medical resident, and we have a almost 2-year-old daughter. Her name's Elisa. When Felicity was born, she was closer to 18 months old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have been so close together and yeah. That's wonderful. And are you guys originally from St. Louis or obviously maybe moved there because of residency?
Yeah, so I'm from Chicago and my husband's from a smaller town in Illinois, but we both went to St. Louis University, so we kind of came back after being in Chicago.
That's great. Okay, that's awesome. So it feels like a little bit of home in a sense.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And what do you guys like to do as a family? Obviously, your husband's probably really busy with residency, but yeah, what do you guys like to do as a family and as a couple?
Yeah, I feel like we like to spend a lot of time outside. We like to find different parks and places to hike. My husband and I just like to go on road trips as well, especially before we had kids, and just kind of do really silly things like that and just like kind of spend that quality time. Like you said, we don't get as much since he's more busy now as a resident, but that's what we like to do. Okay. And we're Catholic, so we make that a really big part of our lives too.
Oh, good. Yeah. So that practice also, that is wonderful. Okay. And so I did just want to clarify that both of your families are in Illinois, though, sort of close by to where you guys are now, but not like super, super close.
Yeah, because it's like a 4-hour drive to Chicago.
Yeah,
and my in-laws are like an hour and a half. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Just for relationships of where people are at and everything. So, Okay. And then tell me about obviously you had your older daughter, and when you got pregnant with Felicity, tell me, was that something that you guys were planning on? Was that a surprise? Any issues with fertility, I guess?
So a little bit before we got pregnant with Felicity, we had one of those like really early miscarriages that like people would think is a period basically. And then it just basically took kind of a couple months after that for us to get pregnant with Felicity. And that was June of 2020. Let me do the math. Yeah. June of 2025.
Yes. Okay.
So then we were really excited because we had wanted another baby and had been trying. So we were really excited and really grateful. It wasn't a whole process after that early loss.
Yeah. Because that in itself can be like a little jarring because you're like excited. And so did you kind of know that you were pregnant, or like how far do you think that it was? It was a couple weeks or so?
I usually am like we track because we use NFP, so I basically test as soon as like you possibly can and get like the faintest line. So I knew like right away when I was like 3 weeks pregnant and took
Okay.
like the test, and I
Yeah.
was like, yep, that's good.
Yeah. And then you lost that baby pretty quickly then.
Yeah, the baby in February, yeah, we lost really quickly. Yeah,
Okay.
it was basically
Okay.
like right after we took a test, like a week after. And then it kind of took just a few months with everything, and I was still breastfeeding Elisa, my older daughter, so it kind of messes with your cycles and everything.
So you're
So
like, not sure, but okay. But then
yeah.
you got the line. Were you did you suspect anything? Does that make sense? Or were you like, I'm just gonna test and see?
Um, I didn't, obviously it was so early that you don't feel anything. It was more
Mhm.
like I know that we had been trying, so this was probably the earliest point we could test, and it came back positive. I always take a digital to make sure, and it said
That
pregnant. And so my husband hadn't started residency. He like was about to like the week
oh
after. And so it was just really exciting, like going into it, like, oh, okay, like we have this kind of milestone to look forward to later on in his first year.
yeah, that is crazy. Oh yeah, because they start in July, don't they?
Yep.
Residents start in July. Okay. Um, okay, so then so you took that test and you got it, and how did you tell your husband?
Oh, I think it was like I took it in the morning and he had been sleeping because he wasn't working yet. So I
Oh.
think I like woke him up and I was like, hey, because I was pregnant with my daughter, he was working and I was working at the time. And so I had found out without him. And so I like had to hold it in all day. So I was like, I'm never gonna like hold it in. I'm just gonna tell him I got it.
This is the way yeah, I can't keep secrets like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
so fun. And so your daughter would have been, so she would have been 18 months around that time, or would it would have been a little bit, she would have been closer to what, 14 months?
When we found out we were pregnant with Felicity, she was 13 months.
13 months. Okay.
Yep. She had
Okay.
just turned 1. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, you really couldn't tell her because she probably may not even understand
No.
totally. Okay. At least my 13-month-olds were not that way. They were totally clueless. Okay. Well, that's super exciting. What was his reaction?
Oh, he was so excited. And I think there was like a relief at the time because I think when you get like, I think now it's way different, but like before the miscarriage was like our biggest loss, obviously. And so you were like, oh, wow, like this is happening again. And we're really sure like this line is really dark. And we had a lot of confidence what happened last time wouldn't, because it was technically like a chemical pregnancy.
Oh,
And so it was really hopeful, like, oh, okay, like
this
we
is,
don't have problems. Like
yeah.
it's okay. Like we're
Okay.
gonna get it.
Yeah. Did you tell your families after that time, or did you kind of wait to tell them about your pregnancy for the Felicity?
I think our rule of thumb is usually like towards the end of first trimester. So I think we waited till like August, like close to Labor Day, to tell like
Okay.
our families since they're not like around either. Like we happened to have them both together, which happened with my daughter Lisa when we announced. We got my daughter like a T-shirt that said "Big Sister," and it was really funny because I don't think they understood right away, and they were like kind of like confused, and they were like, "What does her shirt say?" And like then they were like, "Oh," it was
Wait,
really
wait.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my dad thought like my aunt had bought the shirt. He's like, why did she buy that? Like she's not a big sister. And I was like, no, we bought the shirt. Like she is a big sister.
Yeah, that's funny. They couldn't quite put two and two together.
Yeah,
That's cute.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And then, so and how are your pregnancies? Are they, do you usually feel sick or anything like that in this first trimester?
Usually not like throwing up, but just like that constant kind of low-key nausea, and then like
Yeah.
the first week where you kind of just need a nap like midday, or else you can't really survive.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
So,
just, yeah,
so not too horrible, but just,
no.
yeah, just the basics of tiredness, a little bit of nausea. So that's good. That's something. Because, there's
Yeah, it's
people
not too
that,
bad.
yeah, there's people like
Oh man.
throwing up the entire time, and you're like, this is miserable.
No, I'm so grateful that it's not me ever. So
Yeah. Okay. So then you had an OBGYN in that area that you were starting to see? Is that because I'm assuming your older daughter was maybe in Chicago area.
Yeah, so yeah, Lisa was born with an OB in Chicago. And then actually this time around I wanted to go with a midwife and try a
Oh,
home
okay.
birth.
Hmm.
And I just was surrounded by a lot of friends in Chicago who had done it, and I was just like, this sounds really cool and like something to try, and I'm low risk. So I found a really nice Catholic midwife, about 20-ish minutes from where we live. And so I met with her, and she was really encouraging because I told her about that early loss we had. So she was like, we'll run HCG like right away, make sure. And that number was super encouraging.
Okay.
So basically they see you as like the same amount of times as
Yes.
OBs, like, every month, basically. So I was really excited to kind of start that new journey as well.
Awesome. Okay, so then I'm assuming you probably saw her the first time around 8 to 10 weeks. It's kind of, it seems like
Mhm.
that's about when. Okay, and
Yeah.
so you ran that HCG test, looked good. It was heading upward as it should.
Yeah.
Then I feel like it's usually like monthly or every 3 weeks or something like that. Were they concerned at all about early, that early miscarriage and
They weren't,
changing?
just because it was like one of those things that they kind of unfortunately put you in the statistic that it could happen in 25% of pregnancies. So they were kind of like, you're getting past that point, your HCG is looking good. Like, we're not concerned. Like, especially once I had like the 8-week ultrasound and it confirmed like everything about the baby. Like, she was so active. You could see all her limb buds. Like, it was a really awesome ultrasound. Like, more in depth than my daughter, I remember thinking, because they did like a 3D and a 4D one. And I was like, wow, like, she's really like, obviously not fully formed, but it was really beautiful to see. And my husband was able to go, and
Oh, good. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so I don't think I've ever heard of that, of extensive an ultrasound at week 8. So that's cool that you were able to.
yeah, it was exciting. I didn't know they could do that.
Yeah,
So it was
you're
really
like
special.
done. Heartbeats
Yeah.
there. That is so fun. Did you plan on doing anything like genetic testing kind of early on, or like some people like to find out the gender kind of earlier on? Is that something you guys wanted to do?
So this time around, our insurance changed because I turned 26 like when I got pregnant, and so I wasn't under my parents, so we were
Yeah.
like, we
Darn.
seemed kind of expensive, but we still wanted to find out what's it called, the gender. So we did like one of those peekaboo tests through my midwife.
Oh, okay.
And then you get an email. And then we were like, we don't have to do something big, but we decided to send it to like a bakery and stuff. And so that was really fun. It was really hard to like not open the email. And I like tried to find a bakery who could do it as fast as they could, like 24-hour notice.
Oh, good.
Most of the time it takes like a week. And I
Yeah.
was like,
No,
I can't wait a week.
no, I'm going to open up that email.
Yeah. So that was really fun. We took this really sweet video that I'm glad we have now. But it was me, Elisa, and Andrew, my daughter, and we cut into the cake. And it was just so funny because I think my husband, I think in his mind, he was thinking like maybe we would have a boy since like we have a girl. He comes from like he has a sister, so it's just like a boy and a girl. So I think he was like, oh, I have another girl. Like, it was really funny. And we kind of laughed. And I kind of was glad because like I already like kind of was feeling that we were going to name her Felicity because her due date was around the feast day of Saint Felicity and Perpetual, which is March 7th. And so I was like, if it's a boy, it's okay. Like, we can find a name, but like,
There'll be
have
something.
a perfect name. Yeah. So I was really excited because I was like, that is, yeah, like our favorite name. So we were really excited, and we had started calling her that. Like, once we cut into the cake, like I would just associate that. And I did that through my whole pregnancy versus my daughter. We would just call her baby the whole time, even me and my husband, even though we knew her name. So like that was kind of a big shift in us. Like I would just be like, oh, Felicity and Elisa and I are on a walk. And like that was just like, kind of how my mindset was like the whole pregnancy.
Yeah, that's beautiful though. That's like really cool that you chose that name. You're like, I have this perfect name.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you found a bakery that could turn that over in 24 hours, that was great. Because I'm like, I need to know ASAP.
Yeah.
And then did you, so it was just you guys. You didn't invite anybody else? I guess your parents, your families are a little farther away, so.
Yeah, because this was, I think, before we told them I was pregnant. So I think we had told them like after, and I'm pretty sure we told them at the same time it was a girl too. Like, oh, hey, we also know it's a girl. So it kind of like came as a two-and for them.
Yeah, awesome. So you found out When can they do those peekaboo tests? I mean, because I know that with the
Like
genetic
7,
test,
8 weeks.
yeah, it's early, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I do think that is really fun to be able to call your baby their name. If you know,
Yeah.
like, I think there's something nice about that instead of calling him like Bean or baby or because that's what we did with our first daughter. So, okay. And then, so you are going along with your pregnancy, feeling okay generally, it sounds like, not anything horrible, in regards to morning sickness and such. And I'm assuming that you start to come upon the 20-week ultrasound.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us, or am I missing any other major appointments from the midwife?
No, I feel like they were just general standard like appointments that you would have. And I was really excited for the anatomy scan. I honestly was thinking more of like, how is my daughter gonna do? Because obviously I'm in St. Louis by myself, so I had to bring her. So I had like a whole plan with her and having snacks and stuff. But it was super fun, and she was getting into baby dolls around this time, and so I remember when we went, she was like confused still because obviously she was like 15 months, 16 months old. And I was like, there's a baby. But then she was just pointing to her baby doll. So it was really sweet because like, I was like, you just don't know yet. But she did really good at that appointment. And it was just really exciting. I feel like I just kept asking like so many questions. And then I also was like, the peekaboo test could be wrong. So like, this is the confirmation. Like this is Felicity. Like I was like, let's make sure. And it was, she was a girl. And it was just really fun. Like, I think they're so much bigger versus the 8-week, and you just see so much more. And obviously they're so active, but I tend to like feel movement a little bit even after like the 20-week mark. So like, it's just nice to see them like so active.
Yes.
And then they told me, like, because of her positioning, they had to, like, schedule another one, like, a month later because they just needed a few extra scans and everything should be fine. But, like, they were like, oh, we just can't get certain angles of her heart and her face. And I was like, okay. So I was kind of excited because I didn't have as many ultrasounds. Like, it's always fun to get an extra one.
It is. Yeah. And then, of course, if you changed insurances, whether or not they'll do the ultrasound they always are like, your insurance doesn't pay for it. So I'm glad that they scheduled another one.
Yeah. And something else to add is that we had a Doppler at home with my daughter, Elisa, and I had bought a new one for Felicity's pregnancy because it didn't really work. And so I'm really grateful I did this. But with Elisa's pregnancy, I have a voice memo of her Doppler at home, like around like 15 weeks, I think. And I did the same thing with Felicity. Like on my phone, I like recorded it because I found it. And so that's something I would also do at home, just like maybe on a weekly basis just to check in because I don't know, you just never know. And like, I don't know, it makes you feel reassured, even though obviously it doesn't mean anything. And so we would do that alongside like the appointments and everything.
Okay. Did you, like, even with Elisa's pregnancy, you got the home Doppler? Was that from your doctor or was it, because that is interesting that they're like, or did you just kind of do that on your own?
Someone we actually knew, like back in Chicago, like a family friend, they had it from their pregnancies and they just gave it to us after we were pregnant. And I was not even thinking of buying one. I was like, oh, thanks. And then I feel like we used it with Elisa. And so then when I got pregnant with Felicity, I was like, that was kind of nice to have. Like, let's get one again because that one was super old, so it was just not working anymore. So it was just nice to kind of have.
Yeah. Okay. I'm always like, I had one for our pregnancy after our loss because I was paranoid. So,
that's fair.
Okay. Well, that was nice of your friend to give that to you and during your first pregnancy. Okay. And then, so that the 20-week ultrasound, tell me about when that was probably in the fall,
October.
right?
Mm-hmm.
October. Okay. And when everything generally looked okay, though, you couldn't get all the pictures. Is that right?
Yeah, everything was normal, like every like measurement. And so we just had to wait till like, I'm pretty sure the next one was November. For the I got it at 24, 25 weeks. Cause I feel like the due dates always were kind of getting switched in my mind. So like I would consider it 1 week and then the other people would consider it another week. So it was like, I always say 24/25.
Okay.
But yeah, that was in November, and then they got the pictures, and those pictures are all normal, and that was reassuring. And there was actually a student that time I went, and so when the regular tech left, the student was like using the Doppler to just practice on me. And for a long time, I felt like, and I remember just being like, why, why is she doing this? Like, it's kind of a long time. I kind of want to go. Like, my daughter's going to get restless. But like now I think back to that and I'm like, that's literally the last time like I saw Felicity alive. Like that was such a gift that like I saw her for longer for this student to practice. Like usually you're not getting that. Like they're like picture gone. But like I got to see her kick, I got to see her roll, like she was moving a lot like in this ultrasound, and it was just really special. Like I think back and I'm like, I'm glad that that student was there.
Yeah. Wow. Those little mercies that you don't realize until later. That you're like,
yeah, because I feel like those are the last two memories. Because I had that appointment, and then the next day I had my midwife appointment, and so we talked about the scan, and then she uses a Doppler as well. And Felicity, because at least at my midwife, I never had this with an OB, but like my midwife actually like feels my stomach and like feels where Felicity is, like her whole body, and then like knows where to put the Doppler. And Felicity did not like Chaley, my midwife, doing that. So like she, like kicked her and you could actually see her foot, like, which I was surprised.
Against your belly.
Because I was 25 weeks and I was like, she's really strong, like in comparison to my daughter. I don't remember this, but the Lisa this early. So that was really cool. And so I had that appointment, everything was fine. And there was actually a student midwife there. And so she even like recorded her heart rate for longer. And because I think when you look back on something like this, you're like, was she okay? Because these two appointments were 10 days before everything. So like they were so close, and like it's kind of evidence that like there wasn't something, what's it called? Prolonged, like as you hear in other stories, unfortunately. And so, but it's so hard because that was like the last time, like I like, before everything.
I know it. There's when you look back and you're like, was there something? Yeah. You always think like, what if I ask more questions, or but there's unfortunately we can't go down that hole because it will suck you in, I feel like. So. Okay, so everything is going well. Did you tell your husband about everything? Any
I just shared like everything, and he got to see the pictures. We always hang them up in my fridge, and we were excited just going into Thanksgiving, like being like, wow, this is like kind of, I feel like you kind of ticked on the holidays, and then like Felicity would be here. That's kind of how I visualized it, because she was due at the beginning of March, and so you kind of get through Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. So it was like, okay, we're at Thanksgiving, like this is the first one. We took some pictures on Thanksgiving for our Christmas card photo to send out, and so we were like, we're gonna include Felicity on it because like I had a big bump, and then like there's an ultrasound and there's a picture of my other daughter on it, and so we were really excited. And we were spending it here because my husband was working, and so we like made our own ham, and like it was just really fun and special. And so it was like so normal. Like I feel like that week before, like my parents had come earlier because we were gonna miss Thanksgiving with them, and I remember this, but my mom said like I didn't look pregnant because I was wearing really big clothes, and I remember being, she's so wrong. Like my midwife said my fundal height is a month ahead, but like I'm just wearing such a big shirt that like my mom doesn't know, but like I literally feel huge. Like I felt so big. And then we had Thanksgiving and we went into the weekend, and like I remember on that Friday I was like, I'm just gonna use the Doppler. And to be honest, I honestly think that's the last time that like I had heard her, like 2 days before I didn't hear her. And I don't know why I pulled it out, but I just did. And I'm really grateful like for that time. Because the thing about stillbirth too is they can't really tell you when they die. And I will never know. And that's the only thing I have. Like I know that she was still alive a couple days before.
It is. And I was going to say, did you remember feeling her move and everything? Was that a pretty common thing or not for you to feel her
that's
move?
The thing that's really fuzzy. Like I remember I would feel her a lot at night, and I also was preparing to do hypnobirthing, like the recordings for Bridget Tyler's course, and she would kick me sometimes during them because she would tell you to like talk to your baby, and so I would always tell Felicity I loved her, which I'm so thankful to have that time. But it's so hard for me to be like, she was like moving like this amount of times, like because I wasn't a count the kicks kind of person. I just overthink a lot of things, but I was always like in my mind, I'm like, they're here. And then it was basically like she was here until she wasn't. Like it was like versus like I hear other stories of like there was a lot of movement and nothing. Like it was basically like all the time my mind was like Felicity's here, and then like the day that I kind of was like she wasn't. So it's like it was such a dynamic shift.
Yeah.
Like, and I wish like I could have like an objective thing, but no one is going to offer that because you just can't know with this kind of thing.
It does seem like though that you were pretty in tune with her, though. Like you said, you're like,
so.
You know what I'm saying? Like, where you're like, she's here. Yeah. I'm you know, jiving with her and she's responding and kicking and being active. And then, like you said, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And
because I think the doctors and my midwives, like everyone I've seen have said like the gestation you were into, like something like count the case is not reliable. Like I was 22 weeks.
It was a little, I think, too early to really do that.
Like, I couldn't even, that's not even something I fit into, even though it's something I still shame myself about because of, I know that can be a beneficial to someone later because I just had entered their trimester versus other people have had a later loss.
Yeah. Okay. So then you checked her out that weekend, Doppler, you've heard her, she was still, it sounds like kind of active, so that you were aware of her. So tell me how the next couple of days transpired.
Yeah, so I'll kind of start with Sunday, which was probably the last like normal day for us, and my husband was off, and it was the 30th of November, and so we were going into the first week of Advent. So we were at Mass, and something that I really remember about Mass is that during the consecration, which is the part before we receive communion, sometimes the priest, with the prayers he's doing, he will list martyrs in the church, and Felicity is on that list. Like she just happens to be on this list, and they don't usually do it. Like it's not a regular thing, but they did that Sunday, and I stood there at Mass and I like teared up, and I was like, I remember thinking to myself like, oh, I'm probably just so happy like that my daughter is going to be here and I can like tell her like that she's named after Saint Felicity. And like I didn't think much of it, and like we went about our day decorating for Christmas at home and looking at Christmas lights, and I'm really grateful for that normal day. But like I think that's the day you wish like you did something. Like that's what I always think. I'm like, I wish something told me, because on Monday I basically had a pretty normal day as well. I just like circumstantially was stressed. Like I went to the wrong like tire rotation place, and I was like, like I didn't go to the right one, so I should just do something else, make my day better. Let's do like an oil change on my husband's car, make it better. And I just remember feeling still like overwhelmed, and like my toddler wasn't waiting well either, obviously, and I was just like, let's just make it better, go home, like try to take a nap. And like my daughter wasn't taking a nap, and I remember feeling so like angry, and I feel like I never get that like ragey about that. And so I was like, something's wrong. Like I don't know what's wrong, but something's wrong. And I remember texting my group from back home and asking for prayers. Like just genuinely, I look at the message and I'm like, I'm pretty sure she just like died here. Like because I literally say like something is wrong. Like please pray for me. I didn't know what it was. And shortly after I had sent that message, I was like, gosh, I really haven't felt her move. I'm just gonna pull the Doppler out. Like you think, make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
You know. So I'm like doing it, and then my arm is like falling asleep because I've been doing it for so long and I cannot find her. And I'm like, I'm not an OBGYN. Like, this is fine. This has happened probably with Elisa's pregnancy. Like, Felicity is still there. I decided to wait for Andrew, my husband, to get home from work. It's snowing here in St. Louis, so like they don't know what to do with snow, so it's like kind of chaotic outside. So I don't like leave. So I wait for Andrew to get home, and he comes home. He also can't find her, which also he's not an OBGYN. So I'm like, it's fine. Yes. But I'm also like, I'm a little bit worried. Like I looked at him and I said, what if she died? And like started crying. And he's like, no. Like, which I think it's good. He was positive. But like, I was just like, I don't know. Like, how can we not find her? I'm 27 weeks. Like, this is crazy. Yeah. So I text my midwife. She offers to come over. But I say it's like 10 p.m. and I'm like, it's literally disgusting outside. Like I don't
Yeah.
want you to die. So I was like, come over tomorrow morning. Like, Elisa has a little class in the morning through our church called Catechesis of the Good Shepherd. You can come after. So I go to that class with Elisa, and there's other pregnant moms in that class. And I remember like telling them like my midwife is coming over, but I didn't tell them why. Like I was like, oh, she does home visits sometimes. And like I was trying to make it positive, and everyone was like, that's so cool. Like she comes over. And I remember being like, I just have to leave early and like go. And she beat me at my apartment. And it's just so funny, this part, because she brought a photography student from Mizzou who was going to do a journal thing about midwifery care. Obviously, this person deleted everything after what happened next. But my midwife couldn't find Felicity. And that's when I was like, this is because obviously they have a way better Doppler. But my midwife showed no, like, she's dead, like, no thought. But my midwife tried to feel Felicity, and Felicity had no tone. And I was like,
Oh.
I remember being like, how could this mean that she's alive? Like, I didn't ask these questions because obviously I think I was entering a state of shock of like,
Yeah.
but my midwife was like, okay, we're going to go to an ultrasound like boutique place. She knows the lady. And get a BPP, which is just like checking on the baby. And I was like, okay, this is fine. I'll eat lunch and we'll go and we'll skip Elisa's nap. This is worth it. We need to see how Felicity's doing. And so I text like all my friends and I'm like, pray for Felicity. I'm not feeling her. Like, I'm so scared. And like, just thinking I'm saying this, like, when people are scared and like thinking everything's going to be fine. I text my husband. He's fasting instead of eating lunch, going to the chapel at the hospital because the hospital he works at is Catholic. And I drive to the ultrasound place. It's about 15 minutes. And I listen to the rosary in the car. And it happened to be Tuesday, which Tuesdays are the sorrowful mysteries, which I just always think like how coordinated that was. And I get there. I find out later, though, from my midwife that she thought that Felicity was dead, and that this was an ultrasound to confirm it, but she had not told me this.
She was not giving. Well, the interesting thing, and she said she didn't have any tone. Like she was kind of pushing on her, right, just to see if she would push back. And
yeah, so I think I just wanted to believe that she was okay. My midwife told me she had called the ultrasound person and another midwife and said, I don't know why this baby is dead, but this baby is dead.
Oh.
And so I remember going to the ultrasound place and not just being like, we're going to do a BPP. Like she's telling the ultrasound tech, type in BPP. And I'm just like, okay, because I've never had this kind of experience, but to the ultrasound tech's not her fault, but she put it right on Felicity's heart and it was not beating, obviously. And I remember just being like, okay. And she immediately slides it though. But I saw it. I immediately was like, she's dead. She's dead. But she moves it to the genital area and she's like, it's a girl. And I'm like, why are you, I know it's a girl. Let's get to the point here. We know why we're here. And she moves it to the placenta and obviously all the blood flow, the red and the blue cardiac lights are on. And then she moves it back to her heart and her there's nothing. And I sat there and I remember thinking I had heard a podcast from these influencers back in September about their 18-week miscarriage, and this is exactly their experience. And I remember being oh my gosh, my child Elisa is I'm outside in the kitchen and I'm just oh my gosh, and everyone's saying I'm so sorry, and I'm I'm just so aware of what needs to happen next because I'm just aware of stillbirth, just hearing the story. I'm just I know what I have to do. And so I was just I have to get up. I have to call my husband. So I go and I call him and all I could get out was come home now. And my husband is screaming and he's are you serious? So many times in a row. That's all he could say. And this poor man was in a meeting with all the people at the hospital, and he had to go back into the meeting and drag someone and tell them he had to leave. And he's crying to them because I can hear him, and of course they're letting him leave. And I just was how am I gonna make it home? Because I still had to drive home and sort myself out and then make a plan. And so I drove home by the grace of God, made it home, didn't crash the car. Like, I don't know how that was even a thing.
Yeah.
Like, you just drive in silence. Like, that route now is so, like, triggering to me.
Oh, yeah. It's the worst, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
the most weird things where you're like, I can't drive on that road. Yeah,
Like, I can't go to that town anymore. Like,
No.
I can't pass the place. I'm never going to go to that ultrasound place. But my midwife basically was like, I'm going to come over and we're going to talk about what to do. And so she had to drop off that photography student who was with her still. And then she came over. And when I came in the door, my husband beat me home. And he had ripped our Christmas card down because we had just put it up because we had just gotten them in the mail. And he was, like, really upset. Like, I've never seen my husband crying like that. I was so, like, oh my gosh, like, because I was so shocked. I don't know. Like, I was still not really getting hit with the emotions. And he was thinking at the time, she's so strong. But I was like, just wait. Like, I think. And so Kaylee, my midwife, finally met us here. And she basically gave us the two options of, like, we could try to induce a home birth, but I don't know if it's going to work. I was like, nope, we're not doing that anymore. Like, that's not even, we need to find out what happened with Felicity. So it's like, we need to go to Mercy, the hospital. And I really wish she just sent me to Mercy in the first place if she thought Felicity was dead, because it would have made it much easier. Could have just gotten checked in and everything. So she had to, like, send all the files because I was a home birth patient, not a hospital patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we basically packed our bags right away and, like, we're like, okay. And I was like, we're not going to tell our family because they're just going to call us and I don't know what to say. And they can't do anything because they're far. Like, it's not like they're right here and they can come pick up Elisa or something. So we get there, and luckily the hospital has, like, a maternal emergency room, not just a general one.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there and I went up to them and I said, I want to be induced. And of course they were like, why? And I was like, my baby's dead. And I had to say that, like, so many times. And I was like, can someone talk to someone else and tell them why I'm here so I don't have to keep saying that my baby died?
Yeah.
So I just remember being so annoyed about that. And obviously I'm in the maternal labor and delivery area and I'm watching women come in going to be induced with live babies. Like, people kept being like, oh, you're ready to meet your baby. And this woman's like 40 weeks pregnant. And I was like, someone needs to take me out of this waiting room and, like, get me back. And thankfully it wasn't too long, but it felt like that. And unfortunately they had to do another ultrasound to confirm what we already knew. And I remember being like, there needs to be a miracle. Like, she could still be alive. Like, there could be a mistake. And they did it really quickly. And they were just like, yeah, no. And, like, it was not a scarring ultrasound like the first one was. Because the first one, like, I just saw her full body still. Like, the other one, it was like, I could barely see it. And it was like her back. And they could see her, like, heart by themselves. So I was kind of like, I'm grateful my husband didn't have to see what I had to see in the first one. But yeah, they were like, you shouldn't go home if we put the cytotech in you, because I thought maybe I could go home and then just come back when I'm about to give birth, so I didn't have to be at the hospital. But they were like, no, you need to be checked in. And I was like, okay. So I was just trying to mentally prepare myself for that. And since my daughter hadn't napped, I think she was falling asleep at this point.
Yeah.
And so I was holding her and just being like, okay, we have to wait to be checked in. And I don't know, just a lot of thoughts in my head. And my friends who I had asked prayer for, they were obviously checking in. And so it was just really hard to see that, because I think one of my friends had texted me and said, it doesn't look like things are going well based on you not texting me back. And I was like, yeah. In my head, I was like, yeah, they're not going well. And obviously there's only, like, one reason why it's not going well. So yeah, we got checked in. I feel like it was a whole process, because we had gotten there at 2 and didn't get up till like 6 or 6:30.
Oh God,
and,
yeah. That's a long time. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, we got up there. Since I wasn't a patient of an OBGYN there, they gave me a resident, because they have OB-GYN residents. And I just remember being like, I just feel so weird. Like, I don't know these people. Like, and my midwife had offered to come, like, the whole time and be there. And I was like, it's not going to help anything. Like, she's dead. Like, I don't know what you can do. So yeah, the first nurse we had was really nice and kind. And it was just unfortunate, because I feel like every person who would come in would be like, I'm sorry we're meeting under this circumstance. And I was like, this is just, like, so depressing. Like, Because I just had such a positive like experience with my daughter, Elisa, and so I don't know, it was just such a crazy change of events. And they were basically like, you can wait on the side attack, like we can do it when you're ready. And I was like, no, like we're doing this right now. I know how stillbirth works. I want her to look the best she can. Like I want to know how long she's been dead. Like I want like the soonest possible side attack to give me like right now. And so I think the first dose was at 8. And I did have an epidural with my daughter, Elisa, but since I was planning a home birth with Felicity, I wasn't planning to obviously go that route. So my plan this time was to just see how it goes.
Yeah.
Like, don't need it right now. If I want it, I can always ask for it. But obviously, yeah, sorry.
What I was going to ask, is Elisa with you guys still? Okay. I was thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, logistically, I'm like, this is so hard.
She was with us. There was just no way, like, and also I was breastfeeding her still, and she still only sleeps when I put her to sleep. So like she would just torture someone. Like I just didn't want to put someone else through that, and Elisa through that. And I was like, she's honestly a comfort, like because of everything that's happened. And so she honestly did really good. Like honestly, I would bring her again to the hospital if I needed to go.
Okay.
But yeah, so they gave me the side attack, and I remember since my husband works at that hospital, some of the residents knew what happened, and one of them came up, and I remember being like, can you ask them not to come up? I don't know this person. But like she was so kind, and like she brought stuff for Elisa, and she brought us food, and it was so nice. But I was just like, this is such a weird situation.
Yes.
To meet you, because he talks about all these residents.
Yeah, you're like coworkers.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is just so weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think I started texting people at this point, like some of my friends who were praying for us, and I said, everything's not okay, like she died. And I think that's when it started hitting me, like sending those messages out to some of the people I had been asking for prayer for. And I said to Andrew, I was like, let's just wait till we birth Felicity and go home to call our families, because I know it's going to be just more of a discussion, and I'm going to be in labor. Like I want to actually talk to them and like not be in labor. So I was like, because they can't even do anything for us. So I think that's when the emotions started hitting me. Like I remember as Elisa was going to bed, I remember thinking too, like the doctor came in as I was like laying with the hospital gown, like half naked, breastfeeding Elisa on the couch, and like trying to talk to me about birth. And I was like, do you see this as a bad time? Like I remember laughing, like what, just come in later.
Like 10 minutes, just give me 10 minutes.
Yeah. And that couch was so small though. Poor Elisa, like she kept moving in her sleep and like sliding off. So I just brought her to bed with me, because I was like, she's not going to survive there. And we also had this chaplain who was so awkward, because obviously stillbirth is a really awkward situation for people. They don't know what to say. But this chaplain literally came in, introduced himself, and then just stood there, like, and looked at us. And I was like, what? And my husband tried to lead him on. He was like, we're grieving our daughter, Felicity, who died. And he was like, I know. And it was just like, okay, so what are you doing?
Yes.
It was like a 10-minute thing, and then he like walked out, and me and Andrew, like, we laugh about it now, but we were like, what?
That was weird. Okay.
Yeah. So we have things to laugh about, but I was like, what the heck? And then as I was getting later, obviously my husband and my daughter were sleeping, but I couldn't sleep. So I was just laying there awake by myself. I tried to turn on Friends, because that's something I watched when I was in labor with Elisa, to try to like make myself feel better. And then I still wasn't really feeling much. Like it wasn't till like, what's it called? Like midnight, when they put the next dose in. Yeah. I remember at that time, like your uterus starts kind of contracting, and it really feels like baby movement. And so I had to like remind myself, like, it's not her. Like, I'm not killing her, because the process they use, I'm pretty sure, is very similar to abortion at this term, like at this late of a term. And it's like, I'm not killing her. This is my uterus. Like I had to keep telling myself that as I was laying there. And I was like, that was the worst part of it, I feel like, just because I felt like I was doing something wrong. But like obviously we had it confirmed that she had passed away. And so I was just going into the night, and it really wasn't until like 4 a.m. I really started feeling pretty bad, like the third dose. And I asked for like a heating pack and just try to cope. And since I didn't have the epidural, I could still move.
Okay.
My daughter had woken up at this point because I think she sensed my pain. She wasn't crabbing or anything. She was just up. And my husband was like, maybe I could drive with her, you know? And I was like, that's fine if you want to do that. Like, no big deal. I think I'm fine. And it's Cytotec, so I don't think it's going to be like, you know, that of a labor. So they went to do that around 5. They gave me like some Zofran because I was feeling a little nauseous, and then some like low dose pain med thing through my IV because I was like, I'll try that. But honestly, it did nothing. I don't even know why I asked for it. Like, it was crazy. Like, it's literally like nothing. The Zofran worked, but the pain meds,
nothing.
It did not work. So I was trying to like cope with it myself, and my husband had gone, and I remember being like, okay, like, I don't know how much longer I have. And all the coping stuff I prepared for with Felicity, it was like with a baby being alive, because the recordings were like, I can't wait to nurse you. I can't wait to hold you. Like, all these, like, you know, things that are just not going to happen. And so I was like, I don't know how to cope with this. Like, it was such a hard mental battle. And I remember being like, okay, I'm going to try different things. And around like 5:30, close to 6, I was like, you know, I can just get the epidural. It's not a big deal. So I like walked myself to the nurse's station, and I'm like, can I get the epidural? And so like they come, but they were like, oh, we have to run like a blood test on you to make sure you can get it, but we'll run it stat. And I was like, okay. I was like dying at this point, and I was like, why didn't you already run this test?
Yeah.
Because I already taken blood. And so I was just kind of trying to just do the best I could. But it was like at the point, which I laugh now because this is the exact moment I got my epidural with my daughter. But if I could just hold on with her, I would have just had an unmedicated birth with my daughter as well. And because they're just so intense, and the contractions are kind of like all over instead of like back or front. And I don't really have breaks, especially when I get induced, because I got induced with my daughter as well. And so
it was just constant.
And so the nurse was really kind to kind of stay with me since Andrew was gone. And so I was like, that's really nice. She kept telling me that I should get a cervical check, because obviously then they could tell me when to push. But I was like, I don't want that. I know how painful they are, because I had them with my daughter. And I was like, nope, I like won't need it unless you give me an epidural, because then I won't feel it.
Yeah.
So we were kind of walking back and forth, going to the bathroom, sitting in the bed, and she was just like, I want you to sit in the bed so you don't faint, because I felt so dizzy at this point, because I feel like if you get to transition, the intensity, like everything, and I was like, but I need to move around, like I can't just sit here in bed. And I remember like sitting on the toilet with her, and her just like saying, the doctor's here, he can give you a cervical check, we don't want to have the baby in the toilet. But I was like, no, I don't want that. And I'm really proud of myself to advocate, like, because before, with your first birth, you just don't know anything. So I'm like, I'm glad I at least knew this. And I remember it was like a little bit after 7, we had like been walking around, and I was going to go to the bathroom again, and I sat down, and I was like going to the bathroom, and then I was like, oh, this is the baby, actually. And she was like, oh, and like obviously no one was there, so she's like panic calling, and I like it immediately went from like I feel her head to like no, like she's like coming. And like obviously I was just feeling it all too, because I didn't have the epidural because it didn't come in time. So I just laugh about it. But like she was telling me not to push as fast, but like when you don't have any epidural and you like, I have to get this baby out, like it's not even in my control. But like I looked at the medical chart, it was like 3 minutes from like when I felt her to when she came out. Like it was really fast. But
oh my goodness.
She like basically, I'm glad she was there, because she had caught her, and so she didn't go in the toilet, thankfully. But I remember just hearing a huge crash because my water had broken along with Felicity coming out.
Oh, okay.
And then silence, obviously. And it was funny, I also should add that I was wearing my pajamas and not a hospital gown, because it was so cold in the hospital room, so I had to change back to so I just like had amniotic fluid all over my pajama pants. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once the baby came, I feel like everyone came rushing in, like so many nurses and doctors, and I really wish we talked more about a plan, because they had asked me one time at the beginning when I stayed where I wanted Felicity when she was born. And I didn't say anything at that time because obviously I was just, you're in shock. You don't know.
No, yeah.
But they didn't give her to me. The nurse had her, and then to get me back to the bed, they put Felicity in a bucket, and they like lifted me like to the bed. And I was like, I think back to that, and I'm like, gosh, why didn't I say give me my baby? Like, I don't even like, I'm like, that is so morbid to put my baby in a bucket. But like, that's just not, they don't think that way when your baby's dead. Like, I understand, but they basically, I remember the doctor looking over me and saying, hey, what's it called? If your placenta doesn't come out, we're going to have to do surgery. Like, we're going to see if it comes out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I do not need another thing right now. And thankfully they like tugged very lightly and the placenta came out.
Okay.
And I remember them like jostling it around and like looking, because I feel like they were like, what's on here? Like, you know, can we
just kind of quickly looking it over to see if anything happened.
And they actually found my subchorionic hematoma I had in first trimester, which is not a big deal.
No, yeah.
It didn't do anything. But I still like, in any other pregnancy I have that, I'm going to literally like panic because what happened. But I was like, yep, there it is on my placenta, which my midwife said, when Felicity's born, you're going to find your hematoma on there. And then they found like a clot on the back because basically they were like, whenever it comes off, it could like clot. And so I was like, well, there's nothing on the placenta. I did think to myself, her cord looked weird. But I also was like, she's so much younger than my daughter, like, you know, when she's dead and everything. But basically, I don't even know where Felicity was at this point. Obviously really close to me, but like didn't see her. I think they like wiped her off a little bit, and then like I remember feeling like it was forever. I was just like, someone just needs to give me my baby. But I remember calling Andrew laying in bed and being like, hey, so I had the baby, so you should come back. And he was like, oh my gosh. And so he like obviously is coming back, and so they had handed me the baby. And I looked down at Felicity, and I remember being like, she literally doesn't feel like anything because she's so small. Like, she doesn't weigh like anything. Like, she does, but it's like, I'm not holding anything. And she looked so peaceful. Like, I was just like, she must have not been dead like for so long. Like, she doesn't have any skin sloughing. Like, look at her. Like, she looks amazing. Like, she has all this hair and it's dark and it's probably gonna be dark because my daughter's mysteriously blonde and me and my husband aren't blonde. Like, he has my hair. So, like, Felicity would have been dark like us. And I was like, she kind of looks more like me because Elisa, my daughter, looks a lot more like my husband. And so I was like, this is my baby. And I remember just like looking at her and just being like, what happened to you? Like, and just feeling so sorry. Like, what did I do to cause you to die? Like, you know? And so obviously at this point, the doctors are all trying to find out, like, you know, what happened. They're trying to make guesses. They're testing what they can. Something I didn't appreciate though was they were just throwing things out, you know, without like confirmation. They're like, obviously it could be infection, it could be placenta abruption, it could be all these things. It could be something with Felicity's genetics because we need to do NIPT. And I was just like, but she looks fine. Like, I looked at my husband, I'm like, she doesn't, like, I'm an occupational therapist, like, before. Like, I know what it looks like to have a genetic abnormality. Like, Felicity does not have this. And my husband came in. He, I remember him, like, breaking down again. And I just remember being like, I'm so, like, I felt horrible I did this to him. Like, as the mom, like, I was just like, how could I do this to my husband who, like, worked so hard for us as a resident, and it's a hard job, and the one job I had, I just failed. Like, I failed so hard. Like, my body just couldn't do it, and I don't know. And then I just saw my daughter, and she loves babies, and like my daughter lit up, like, because Felicity is a baby. Like, and I was like, this sucks so bad. Like, she came in, she wanted to touch Felicity's body parts, like, she was excited to hold her. Like, I was just like, this was supposed to be so different. And I like let her sit with me, Elisa, and I was just like, I don't even know like what to think. And my husband, he told me later he didn't want to hold her, but he did hold her so I could eat breakfast. And I'm really glad he did, but like I get why as well. But something at this hospital that they do is a program called Heart Prints, and they come in and they take photos for you, and like they give you a bunch of flyers. They have a support group at the hospital, and something like, I have a few regrets, and this is one of them, but they offered to take her away and give her a bath. And since I didn't get the epidural, I can move, but I didn't even think to ask them, could I give her a bath? And I was like, gosh, why did I ask that? But it's like, I wasn't thinking at all. But I was just like, okay, yeah. And like, obviously they were really nice and like took her for a little bit and took photos, and they were putting it on this little like flash drive we have, and they gave us a bunny, and some other things, some books. And I just remember being like, what do we do now? Like, how do we investigate? And like at the time they saw my placenta, like some bacteria. And so they wanted to give me a shot because they were like, if it's infection, it could infect you. Like, you know, we don't want you to be sick. And so I was like, okay. And I was freaking out thinking like that stupid ham I made at Thanksgiving is what killed Felicity, because I never made a ham. Like I'm never eating ham again. Like,
yes. Yeah.
You just associate. Or like I didn't fall on the stairs. I like tripped with my daughter, and I caught myself on the wall, and Andrew's like, that's not a fall, that's not. But I was like, it's a fall, like, you know, that's not a fall. But
your mind is trying to figure out what happened.
Yeah. And
that's
so
all there is to it.
Shot, I laugh about the shot because it was the worst pain of my life.
I was about to say, like, those are pain in the butt, literally.
It was right in my butt, like right before I left. I could not sit. I could sit after my birth with Felicity. I could not sit after that. I remember being like, we need to find an answer. And it came out later that it was not an infection. Like, it was just, they were trying to be precautionary, which thank God I don't have to really blame myself. But I was like, and they basically, like every other stillbirth, like they give you as long as you want. But I was like, we have to say goodbye. Like, what are we going to do here? Like, just stare at her and watch her decay? Like, when she came back from the bath and stuff, her lips had like changed to like a darker red color. And I don't know everything about stillbirth, so I didn't know this, but I literally thought they had put lipstick on her. And I was like, how dare they? That is so disturbing. I literally didn't even find out till a week later. That's what happens, like with the lips. And I was like, oh. And at this point, I had taken everything off of her because I wanted to scan her body, like somewhere show me like what had happened. And all there was she had like a little skin off on her foot, like, and I was like, you look so normal. And like, it's just from being dead for a little bit. Like, my midwife and other people assured me, like, you were probably right that she died on Monday and she had been dead, because I thought on Monday she died. Tuesday we found out. Wednesday I gave birth. So like, she basically had been dead for probably less than 48 hours, 40 hours. Right. So the way she looked kind of matches with that, which gives me solace, but you don't know for sure. And I think that's something I'm still kind of walking through. So yeah, we basically were like, okay, we can basically leave once they give us the shot. So I feel like we basically had like about 5 hours with her. They also didn't offer me the cuddle cut thing. I had heard about that before, and I wish they had given me that, because then I feel like she would have looked a little bit better throughout the time, because versus when she first came out, she was warm and like looked obviously better. And then by the time it was 1 p.m., it was like, okay, like she's getting like bad. So I'm glad we left, but I don't know, you just think about the different things, like you hold your hands in a certain way and think about holding her. Like, I think about her lips, and like her mouth was open. I remember just thinking like, you'll never nurse, like, and I wonder what color your eyes are, but I'm not going to open your eyes. Like, I know. You just want to know, like, these kind of things. And obviously in the autopsy I found out later, it was kind of like my daughter, like the grayish blue color. But you just look at the little features, and I'm like, you have some of it, Andrew, like my husband has some prominent genes, like the butt chin and like his nose, but like there's some things that she's more like me, like, you know. And I don't know, I just always, and I feel like she looks so much like my daughter, because whenever I watch Elisa sleep, like I see Felicity's face, like their faces are very, very similar. And I'm just like, you just dream that like something would have been different. And I feel like there's like that first week was just like a battle to like survive and just tell people. Like, I feel like we got home, and it was just like, that's when my flood of emotions came. Like, my husband was like, oh, like I literally thought I was a baby and you were strong. And it's like, no, like you had valid emotions, but I was in shock. Like now I'm facing the reality that like I just had a stillbirth. But that next morning, I think, and that next day was probably the worst one, because I think it's kind of going through the motions of your first day of not being pregnant and realizing that reality through everything. Like my day was so surrounded by Felicity and Elisa, all the little ways. Like I went to the bathroom when I woke up. Obviously, when you go to the bathroom, it's a big reminder you're postpartum.
Yep.
I had to Amazon like really quickly, like postpartum, because obviously I didn't have it.
You didn't have anything. Did they not send you anything home with? Oh my gosh. Okay.
We do, but like I feel like I don't like the hospital like underwear thing because it's really thin. So I like the Freedom Mom one. Yeah.
Yep.
But they did send me home with stuff. I just don't like it as much. And I remember going to the bathroom, obviously having that reminder, going on the scale and seeing I had basically lost all of my pregnancy weight. Like, because this pregnancy, I was really intentional about my weight versus not Felicity's, Elisa's, because I gained a lot and it was fine. I was healthy. It was just I gained a lot. So this time I was like, I'm going to be intentional, work out, do like eat healthy. There's a really great book about like nutrition and pregnancy I was reading. And just to see that number just be basically my pre-pregnancy weight was like, she's gone. Like she's gone so fast. And my body like shrunk. Like it wasn't like I think if I had a full-term stillbirth, I'd maybe look more like I had like a full-term birth, because my stomach even didn't have that like, oh, my uterus is still big look, even though it was. Yeah. And I remember being like, do I take my prenatal? Do I take my medication? Like, and I was like, no, like I'm not pregnant. And like, I was standing.
Oh man, that messes with you. Holy cow. I never thought about that. I was like, oh yeah.
It's like the motions. Like I'm standing over the stove making eggs with my daughter, Elisa. And I'm like crying because I'm like, Felicity will never eat eggs. And it's just like all those little moments you're having. Like I was trying to sit on the couch and pray a rosary and I was just sobbing through it. Like, and I was like, I just have to play it online. I'm not able to speak. And I think that next day was just like emotion after emotion after emotion, and people were finding out and like reaching out to me, and every nice message would just make me cry because I was just like, that is so nice of you to say. Oh my gosh. And no one knows what to say though too. Like family, like when I called our families, both sides, it was just like, what? Like, you know,
you don't know. Yeah, it's like terrible to give that news, and then they're reacting like, what? Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, and I always think about this, but my sister-in-law's reaction was probably the most comforting, because immediately she just started crying, and it was like, you know, this is bad. Like, oh my gosh, like, you know, because I think some people will revert to, oh, it's okay, like, not a big deal. Like, no, she was like crying with us, you know? Yeah. And so it's just like, thank you. Like, I always will appreciate her response. And obviously we got lots of really kind messages praying for us and thinking about us. And people wanted to start a meal train. People offered to watch Elisa, who live here, who are our friends. And I just didn't even know what to do with all of it. I was like, we probably need a meal train, but that also makes me angry. Like, we should be having a newborn in a meal train, not a dead baby.
Yeah. Yes. It's so like, not fair, right?
The injustice.
It is.
So I feel like there's a lot of battle of that, but we were so grateful. Like, we have friends from college here who still live here, and they set it up, and they were like, we don't have to add a picture, we don't have to say what happened, we just make the meal train and spread the news to whoever you want us to, because it's becoming hard to just continue to say my baby died. So like, I had a friend who like just kind of was telling people that like she asked me about, and I really appreciated that a lot from her.
Yeah, having that extra person that can be the breaker of the news. Like, it's rough to say over and over and over, my baby died, my baby died, my baby died. It's really... Yeah,
you just lose your mind. Yeah, like, Anthony's just like, do you want me to take your phone away? Because like, he would see me like, grab my phone and just cry like time after time. And I was like, no, like I want to see what people have to say, because they're so nice.
Yeah, but they are.
Because I sent... we got like footprints at the hospital, and so I sent like a picture of that in my rosary group from back home, and just said like, because it was literally my message about like praying for me, and then it was like, oh, like, can you pray for the soul of my daughter? And so like, there was some people in the group who already knew, but most people didn't. And I remember like seeing their messages being really sweet, and people individually reaching out for me from there, and just being like, I also just miss home. Like, I just want to go home. Like, I don't want to be here alone. Because I think for me, it's helpful to have people sit with you. But when people are away, how are they going to sit with you?
Yes. Yeah. That's too hard.
Yeah.
Sarah, I wanted to ask you a couple of things. So how big was Felicity? Like, her, like, how long was she?
Yeah.
And how, because you said she weighed nothing, but she does weigh something.
Yeah, she does weigh something. She was 1 pound, 12.9 ounces.
Okay. Yeah. Just an itty bitty. And, how long was she?
She was 13 inches.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they got footprints, which I'm so, yeah, those little footprints are the cutest.
My daughter's going to make an appearance.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, hi. Oh, hi. Look at that awesome hair.
You want an apple? Okay. She might sit here.
Okay.
Okay.
We might probably blur her face out just so
that's totally fine.
Okay. We don't want to, we just want to make sure that she's protected too. So
yeah, no, I appreciate it. She just will not be away from me. So.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, especially after a nap, you're like, I just need a cuddle with mom. When it sounds like you guys opted to have an autopsy done, is that correct? Okay.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Why did you make that decision? I'm always curious because you always think, I don't want to hurt my child. Like,
yeah, it was so tough because honestly, I feel like in the moment at the hospital when they were asking me was way different than even after I read it. But I just had to know what had happened. Like, I was like, if there's something, I want to know what I did or something that was going on in my body. Because obviously they offered to give all my testing. But it was definitely really hard to read the report and see like them cutting into her. Like it didn't even hit me like that was even, what they were doing. But it was also so hard because they saw everything be perfect and normal. Like everything was fine. Unfortunately, but doctors always tell me it's fortunate because you shouldn't have this happen again. But they really didn't find anything. Basically, all that said that was her umbilical cord looked hypercoiled, which babies are born with live births with hypercoiled cords. But that's the only thing they can kind of go off of. Like, it seems to them that maybe having the hypercoiled cord could have happened to cause her to have some sudden accident where she lost blood flow and oxygen, leading to her death. Like an MFM I spoke to basically said it probably happened within 5 to 10 minutes. There's nothing you can do. This should give you reassurance this should never happen again. Because she saw my I showed her my ultrasounds from earlier. She's like, yep, that's a hypercoiled cord, but we don't worry about those. Like, it was obvious on my 20-week anatomy scan, and OB read over it, but that's not something you can do anything about.
Yeah.
Because at first I was angry. I was like, why didn't anyone do anything?
Yeah.
But they were like, we don't have to because babies are born with, like, Elisa could have easily been born with a hypercoiled cord.
Right.
And it's not even for sure.
Yeah.
It's just the only thing they can say. So I'm kind of just stuck with like, okay, maybe like doesn't make me feel better. Like people are like, that's great. But I'm like, it's not like, cause I just sit here and think I ate something or stressed her out too much or, and
or
I'm
anything.
through those emotions of I did something. This is it. Like I turned to Andrew and I'm like, my brain has told me a new thing. Like I ate this certain cheese or I drank too much caffeine. And he looks at me, he's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, okay, it's not. And I have to, every time my brain goes there, that's what I have to like tell myself. Or like if for some reason my brain will go to someone's not telling me fully what happened, but that's not true either. But that's where our brains grow because we want to find something for our babies, want to know like, but I can't, like I won't. And it's something I have to still live with and fight through.
It is so frustrating because you do want to find, there's like a, cause and effect, right? There was something that caused this to happen. And so, it's really frustrating. It's like, I wanted to go back to the hospital really fast. And, so they did, so were there any other things that you did, that in order to spend time with her, you held her, and it sounds like Andrew held her for a short time, which is great. Did Elisa ever hold her?
Yeah, she was really into putting body parts out at the time, so she
Oh,
was putting out all her body parts. I didn't let her too close because I feel like she was pretty
yeah.
fragile, being like her gestational age, but she did sit with me. And I sang some songs to her, like "You Are My Sunshine," that I used to sing to Elisa when she was really small, and I remember, yeah, I remember crying, like through those songs and looking down at her. And now I think about it, I'm like, I probably got tears on her, but like, just thinking like I won't get to do these routines I did with Elisa when she was a newborn, like
Yeah.
thinking back to all those days. And I just tried to like do what I could to have those memories. I tried to take pictures of my own because obviously they had the ones they had, but I also just treasure the ones we took. I took a picture of her and Felicity as well, and
Oh,
I really want to frame it and put it somewhere. I just haven't had the strength to do that.
yeah.
And yeah, I just tried to like hold her and just absorb her as much as I can because I didn't want to forget her. Because I think that's the scariest part about having a stillbirth is like you don't want to forget them.
Yeah.
You don't want people to forget them because they were real. They were obviously the most real to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and did you guys, um, what did you decide to do with her remains? Because that is, people have different preferences and such. So I
Yeah.
was wondering if they approached you about that in the hospital or if it was arranged
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, they did. They had something through the hospital, but since we're Catholic, we knew we'd want to bury her at a church.
Oh, yeah.
Since we had moved here more recently, though, we weren't really a part of any church. We'd just been going to mass at different parishes and been going to the one by our college and stuff like that. So my husband decided to kind of call around. And we live in West County, but there's a church in South County that had an opening for her. So had planned to do it through there. So they basically like handled everything with the hospital once like the autopsy was like
Okay.
all like finished and stuff, which didn't take too long, even though at the time I was like, we need to get her.
I know.
But I remember something else that I thought about when I got home was, gosh, I wish I got her hair. And so I called them actually and I said, can I have her hair, like a lock of her hair or something? And they're able to actually do that.
Oh, good.
Which I really appreciate. If it was me, I wish I would have just done it in the room because I would have taken more hair. Like they took the little, like tiniest, of course. But they also, with Elisa's pregnancy, I still have her umbilical cord. So I actually have Felicity's as well.
Oh, you do?
Because they gave it to me as well. Because I called them again. I was like, "Can I have the umbilical stuff?" And they were like, "Yeah." And they put it like in a little like container. So
Okay,
I was
good.
really grateful. I was able to gather those before like everything. Because at the hospital, you're just not thinking.
No.
Obviously, I'm thinking about the footprints. But other than the footprints, I just wasn't thinking much. I was trying to think of everything we could possibly do to remember her. But those are the two things I'm really grateful that I have of hers.
I did not know you can ask for the little umbilical, like that little, I think that's great. Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I had not heard of that before. So, okay, so that is good. And then, can you tell me how you guys decided when to leave the hospital? I know that you kind of mentioned before that you were concerned about how she was starting to deteriorate. So, can you tell us how that went and kind of like how the time went at that time, and then how quickly you left afterward?
Yeah, so basically I had to wait for the doctors to allow me to be discharged as well. The
Yes.
infection stuff, they were basically like, we'll give you a shot and then you can decide to leave. Because I didn't want to go up to postpartum because obviously that's really depressing and I didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Something I also want to add too is sometime in this point, there was a lady who came by with lunch, like, you can order from your room. And she said, like, congrats, mama. And my husband gave her the dirtiest look ever because most people have stillbirth. There's like a little thing on your door, which we had. And that lady, like, she had this, like, she was so scared because she knew she messed up. And it was just so funny. Like, I think back to that too, because obviously my husband was like, no, like, and that lady like regretted her life so fast, but gave us the food. But yeah. So that happened. And then, so I was like, well, once they say I can be discharged, I feel like we should leave. And they did. And so Andrew decided to go down with Elisa and get the car, and then I was gonna sit with Felicity, and they were like, we have to take her before you take you. And I was like, oh, like I didn't even think about that. Like I was like, yeah, duh. Like, and I was just like, that really sucks. Like how do I let go of her? Like how do I leave here without my baby?
Yeah.
Like what?
So messed up.
Because you just, after you have like a child and then you have this, it's just, you have such a stark difference. And so I just remember being like, okay. And so I asked them to keep the clothes that were on her, like, and give them to me. So we had undressed her together. And I remember the like little ties that were on were so delicate and her skin was so delicate. I remember like very carefully trying to take them off, and she was naked then, and I had put everything in the bag, and the nurse said, you can hold her one more time, like, you know, and I was just like, okay. And then I just didn't know how to let go. And then I was wearing a coat because it was winter, and I remember thinking to myself, yeah, like, how can I ever wear this coat again? Like Felicity's body is on this coat. And also this coat is very loose on me now, and it was really tight because I was pregnant. Like all of these thoughts are like circling my head, but I'm holding her, and the nurse is taking pictures with my phone of me holding her like little naked dead body. And I look at those photos, and it's the last ones I have, and I just remember trying to like look at everything all over again. I'm like, did I miss something? And I like kissed her and I said I loved her. I like tried to smell her because I was asking Andrew, I was like, what does she smell like? And he was like, she just kind of smells like blood. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But like, it's just how it is. But I just wanted to remember like everything of her. And the nurse basically left it up to me and was willing to sit with me until I let her go. But I was like, we just have to go home. Like, and so I put her in the basket, and the nurse took her out, and I was like, this is so weird. Like, my baby is gone. I'm never going to see her again. And I remember being wheeled out, and unfortunately, at the same time, you're Elisa. And there was a mom with a newborn, and she had a toddler, probably around the same age as Elisa. And I just remember she was yapping, like talking so much. And I remember like wanting to tell this lady to shut up and be like, I just lost my baby. You can be happy somewhere else.
Yeah, go. Yeah, I don't want any of that. Yeah.
Thankfully, we were in different elevators.
Okay.
But thankfully, they didn't wheel me past the nursery because my husband knows the hospital really well. And he said we were on the same floor as the nursery.
You're like, we're going this way.
Yeah. So thankfully, the nurse, I think, had some insight to know where to go.
Okay. Good.
But yeah, they wheeled me out, and I just remember being like, what just happened? Like, it's so like surreal. And like driving home, and like we like got Panera on the way home. We're in St. Louis. It's called St. Louis Bread Co. And like I just remember being like, I don't really want to eat, but like I should eat. And like my husband didn't eat anything. He didn't eat anything for days after that. Like he was just so shocked. But I was like, I need to eat something, even if it's little. And my daughter needs to eat as well. But I remember just both of us sitting on the couch just staring for so long and being like, what just happened to us? Like,
yeah.
And us just trying to find out every single thing. And since I made a different choice in having a midwife, was it that? But it's like, no. Like it wasn't. Yeah. Like it wasn't anything. Like it wasn't I missed something. It wasn't I was a bad mom and I couldn't save my baby. Because obviously you hear the stories of, oh, I thought something was off and I went in and I had a C-section. Like that was my dream. Like I still dream about that to this day. Like she was past viability. Like I tell people that all the time. Like that's the killer. Like she could have survived.
Yeah.
Like it was a couple weeks after. Like versus having, still a loss of 20 weeks is really hard. But they couldn't have survived. Like Felicity could have survived if we caught something. And I think that thought still gets to me. And the next couple of weeks we're just kind of investigating and trying to find out stuff. And with the midwifery care, it was really nice though, because my midwife came to my house several times. She has more visits than an OB visit. So she came 2 weeks after, she came a week after, and then 4 weeks after.
Oh, good.
At each time, I think with everything that happened, she stayed for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Obviously, she wasn't doing anything medical. She was just talking.
Yeah.
And that was so meaningful to me because having no one really here, it was just hard to be my own thoughts. Yeah, because my husband works, so he basically had to go back after a week because that's how residency works.
Yeah, it is fast.
And so it's just like I was so thankful that she took the time, and obviously had phone calls with people, but the physical people were just the most like meaningful to
Yeah.
me.
It's, yeah, to physically have somebody with you, even though they might not be saying much or doing much, they're just there. It's the presence is really nice. So,
Yeah.
okay. And then, so the parish that you were, or the church that you guys were able to have, that had a spot for her, in their cemetery. Did you guys end up having a service or, yeah, just anything with the priest there and such?
Yeah, so the priest that we had talked to said they don't do like a mass for like this kind of thing because the babies aren't baptized, and like sacraments and mass are like for people who are alive, which is really fair to say. But it was really hard to hear that too. Like, okay, so it feels like already so this happened for nothing, and then this just kind of on top of it.
Yeah.
So, what's it called? So they basically did like a blessing
Okay.
and then buried her. And it was a really cold day. And my toddler was running around the cemetery, I remember. And I was like, this is so messy. And like basically, what's it called? Like just a great description of like everything that's kind of happened.
Yeah.
But then later on, I had spoken to another priest. He actually offered to do a memorial mass. And so I decided to do a memorial mass on her due date, which was St. Felicity and Perpetua's feast day, which is March 7th. So that was a Saturday. So we're able to do something kind of later at another parish, which was really nice. And I think it gave us more time as well. I think it was probably good to kind of collect ourselves, and I think I was better emotionally to speak because I spoke at it versus like those really early weeks. Everything was me crying at every instant. There was no emotional stability. So
yeah. That's really cool that you were able to do something, and then there was somebody that was a priest that was willing to help you guys celebrate her life and have a chance to do that. So, oh man, yeah, like it, because she was. Tell me again, her birth date ended up being, was it the beginning of December, right?
Yeah, December 3rd she was born.
December 3rd. Okay, and then but then you had a memorial service in March, which is that's cool that they were able to have that coincide really nicely. So
yeah.
Sara, I was going to ask you also. So we know why you chose the name Felicity. What about her middle name? Is there a meaning behind that middle name?
We really love Saint Mary Magdalene. And Magdalene really sounded really nice towards Felicity's name, so I feel like it kind of just fit really nicely.
Perfect.
Together.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
We were really excited about it. And we were like, it's such a long name in comparison to my daughter, Elisa.
Yeah, but it's really it's a beautiful name. It's so beautiful. So I just wanted to make sure that there was, if there was, I was thinking that maybe that was the case, but I was like, let me just double check. So
yeah.
Well, I am so sorry for your loss, and I know that this is at the time of this recording, we really are just a month and a half after you had her memorial service, at least in March, right? And just a handful of months, 5 months since you had.
The 5 months thing was the like bereaved Mother's Day. I kind of had about that, like the May 3rd. I was like, oh, it's been 5 months and today is this day.
Yeah. And yeah, it's kind of rough. So I'm sorry that you're going through this, but so grateful that you were able to come and tell us about all of the things that happened in her life, and kind of recall on a few things that were, it sounds like, kind of funny / when you look back on it, and interesting and hard. So thank you. I really appreciate your time here with us today. Before we do close up, though, I wanted to ask you if we missed anything, or if you wanted to share anything, any last thoughts about Felicity that we may have missed, or anything that you want to say about her.
For me, with Felicity is something that I just appreciate, which my friend did like the other week. She has a daughter around the same age as my daughter, Elisa, and we were hanging out, and she actually called my daughter Elisa Felicity and like apologized. And I was like, you don't even know how meaningful that was to me that you said that. And I don't know why you said that or like what was going on, but like that's something that should be happening, but it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And that was really nice of her, even though obviously she's not doing it on purpose, just some like accident. It was really nice.
But the fact that her Felicity's name was enough in the front of of her mind to say it. We love hearing our kids' names, don't we?
Yes. Someone said that idea about like the coffee shop thing, like saying their name instead of your name on it. And I'm like, that's such a good idea.
Oh, I like that. That's a good, yes, that's right. Somebody did say that. So, Sara, thank you again. I appreciate this time with you and you sharing Felicity with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.